Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to the series Mad About Python, and in this video we'll be continuing the series with Matplotlib. Now, those of you who are not familiar with Matplotlib is a visualization toolkit for Python. It is used to analyze data in form of graphs by creating static, animated and interactive visualizations. And this is a widely used tool in the data science community. People who are into data science or data analytics, they use this tool for visualization using different types of graphs. Now down the line we will be seeing all the types like line plots, bar graphs, both in horizontal and vertical format, histograms, pie charts. We'll be also seeing the scatter plots, and we'll use this another data analytics tool which is called as Panda. Now in Panda we have data sets, so using that data sets we'll be plotting some graphs, and at the end of this series we'll be seeing the live data plotting, which is really helpful. Anything to analyze your YouTube video analytics, or maybe your series TRP rating, something like that. So that is under live data plotting. Now in this video we'll be focusing on the first graph, which is known as the line plots, which is very simple. And in this video I'll be explaining you first how to install the Matplotlib to your Visual Studio Code. For this whole series I'll be using VS Code. You can use your own IDE or text editor. I'll suggest you go with Sublime Text or Atom Editor. They both are really good. And if you're on VS Code, then you can simply follow this video. Now, if you have seen some of the Matplotlib based projects or Matplotlib based codes, there you can notice these terms like attributes, legends and subplots. Now you don't have to worry about these because this video series is for beginner level, and I'll be covering all this, including the legends and the subplots, which will be in the future videos. Which will be covered in the future videos. And you can visit the Matplotlib website. You can have a look at the different type of graphs and plotting they have available for the data. So we will starting our plot with a line graph, and then we will work our way up to the live data plotting, which will be really interesting, where you have live data and those points will be plotted on the graph. Okay, so let's get started with the installation. Okay, so right now I'm on VS Code. You can open the editor you want, and to make things clean, you can just create a folder and keep all your plots inside that folder. So I have created this YouTube Matplotlib vids as a folder, and inside that we have the Python file firstplot.py. And just to install the Matplotlib, you have to type it in the terminal, which is pip install matplotlib, and it is gonna show requirement already satisfied, since I have already installed Matplotlib on my system. If you don't have Matplotlib, it is gonna take around 2 minutes to install, and then you're ready to go. Okay, so make sure you have installed the Matplotlib, and then you can start off with the program. Now, like every other Python program, first thing you have to do is to import the matplot library to your program. So to do that, from matplotlib import pyplot as plt. Now you can name it anything, but we'll just follow the convention of plt. Now, as you know that your graph will have two components, x-axis and y-axis. Now we will do the exactly same here, assign two variables for those two axes respectively. So axis x. Now inside the square braces, I'm gonna give some values. Now the point you have to remember here is there is something known as a dimension error in Matplotlib. So you have to define the exactly same value for x-axis and y-axis. That means if you're giving 10 values for x-axis, that means you have to give 10 exact values for the y-axis. And if they mismatch, you'll get a dimension error. We'll see that after we execute this program. Now I'm going to give some values like 10, 20, 30, and give some 5 values. Let's give 6 values. Okay, now same way I'll do it for the y-axis. Inside that, I'm going to give some values in incrementing order, 500 and 600. Yeah, that's enough. Now to plot this, you have to use plt.plot. I'm sorry, not in square braces. Yeah, plt.plot Now inside the round bracket, you have to assign the same two variables. So that means it will be axis X and axis Y. That is it. Now this program is done here, but it is not going to show us the output. For that, you have to use a function known as plt.show. Now we will just hit F5, execute and run this. And there you go, guys. This is your plot. Now this will give you a straight line because I have given the values in the incrementing order. Same way, if you give in decrementing order, the graph will be different. Okay, so this is a GUI tool provided by Matplotlib. So you have options to reset the original view, go to previous, you can pan to zoom like this, you can zoom in and zoom out, go back to original view. Then you have the option to save this figure as PNG file. That is really nice. Once you're done with your output, you can save this as PNG file as well. So this was your line plot. Now let me show you what do you mean by a dimension error and how to fix that. So right now we have 6 values here and 6 values right here. If I change it to 7 values and then run it again, F5, run it again, and there you go. There you'll have an exception, which is the dimension. X and Y must have this first dimension, have the same first dimension. That means the X is having 7 values and Y is having only 6 values. That is the error. So if you just remove this value and run it again, and this error will be fixed. There you go, you get the same value. Okay, so the problem with this plot is this doesn't define anything yet. There is no title for this graph and there is no x-axis and y-axis label. So any other user will have problem understanding this graph. So what you have to do right here is add a title to the graph and add x and y labels. So we will do that by using the x label, y label and the title attribute. So just before the plt.show, you can assign all the 3 attributes here. So that will be like plt.title, and inside the title you can name it like sample graph. Okay, I'll just give it sample graph, and same way plt.x label. Now x label you can name it like anything, x-axis, and plt.y label can name it anything, y-axis. Okay, you can name anything. I'm just giving this as sample values. Let me run it again and show you how this works. There you go. Now you can see the y-axis here having the label y-axis, x-axis is having the label x-axis. Again, you can name anything and the title appears right here, sample graph. So that is how you can add the labels, x-axis, y-axis and the title to your Matplotlib plot. Now we will see how to add 2 lines in the same window. Now you can see here there's only 1 line. That means we have plotted only 1 value against the data set. But in real life projects or real-time projects, you will have multiple lines or multiple graphs in the same window. So we will add 2 lines and see how they fit into the same window. Okay, so to do that, we can see here we have axis x, axis y, and then we have plotted that. Now let me add axis 2x equals to some value, and same way axis 2y. Again, you can name these variables anything you like, then we'll have some values inside it. So for axis x, if I'm taking the same value, and axis y, let me take some different values. So let me start off with 300, 200, 100, 30, then 150, and let me give 260, something like this. And then you have to do the same plt dot plot. Inside this time you have to define the axis 2x comma axis 2y. Now this is going to plot the above value, same way we have done for the previous thing. Now let me just run it again, and there you go. You have your previous value as the blue line, and the second PLT is in the orange. Now the problem here again appears is how to know which line is for what value. For this problem we have something known as legends. So we will just add the legend now. Okay, so to add the legend, you don't have to do anything. You just have to use that inbuilt function plt legend, and this again has to be before show, plt.show, and come to the plt plot, and again you have to pass another parameter known as label. So inside label I can name this first plot as plot A, and same way here I can add another label and name this as plot B, and then when I run this again, there you go. Now you can see what the blue line means and what the orange line means, which is plot A and plot B as defined inside the label. Alright, so now you have seen how to add the labels and the legends to the Matplotlib. Now I just wanted to show you, here you can see the axis X value and axis 2X value are repeating. Now you don't have to do this because it will increase the length of the code. So once, if you have the repeating value, you don't have to add the axis 2x again. Instead of that, you can just plot the x-axis again here and keep the y-axis different. As you can see, the y-axis is different in our program, but the x remains the same. So you can repeat the same variable for the second plot as well. Now when I run this, it is not going to change my plot. It will be the same. Yeah, you can see here the plot remains the same. Okay, so let's just add some more beautification features to our plot. Now we have seen the label, so let's just try color feature. So there is attribute for color as well. So color equals, let me add red. R stands for red, and then you can add something like line style, and that will be dashes or circles. So I'm going to use dashes here, and if you want to add markers to your plot just to show where the value lies, so you can add marker as well, and marker will be of the type circle or a dot. So I'm going to use dot for this one, and let me just copy the same thing here. Oh, we forgot the comma. Okay, so let me copy the same thing for the second plot as well. Again, we forgot the comma. Yeah, so for this second plot, let me use the color green. So I'll just give G, and the line style will be of type single dash, and the marker, let's just give O, and the label remains the same. Now let's just run this program and see how this looks like. All right, so you can see here the dotted lines. I mean, one second. Yeah, you can see here the dotted lines and the dashes as well as the markers you have given. The dot marker is for the first plot. You can see here the small dots, and we have given the O marker, so it is little bold in size. And you can see the color attribute as well. The first plot is R, so it is red, and the second one is green, so it's green. Okay, so it's time to get a little creative. Let's just add 2 more plots to the same window, and we will use different line styles and different markers as well as different colors for the plot, and let's see how it looks. So I'm going to use the same value for x-axis again, and just have the unique values for the y-axis. So let me paste it twice, and let's just change this one to axis 3y and this one to 4y. Again, I'm using the same x-axis. I'm not going to change this, and I'm going to change the values for the third axis now. So let's just give 30, 200, it is 150, 307, 143, 260. Change this one to 30, 20, 10. Let's just make it 370, 150. Change this to 250. Yeah. Now we have 4 different plots, and let's just change the label name also. The third plot will be plot C, and the fourth one will be plot D. Now the marker for the first one is dot, this one is O. Let's just change this one to star, and the last one as H, which stands for hexadecimal. Now guys, if you want to quickly refer these are available in the documentation. You can visit the matplotlib.org and open the documentation. There you will have this table which is having the character as well as the description. Now I have used the H, which stands for hexagon mark, and the star for the star mark, and we have used the circle mark before, and the dot is the pointer marker. Now the same thing applies for the color as well. You can have a set of predefined colors, or there's always the hexadecimal string available, so you can choose the unique color if you want for your plot, or just stick with the predefined colors. So let's just use black and yellow for this one. So I'm going to change this one to Y, which stands for yellow, and this one as black. Okay, so we have our 4 plots ready, the title. Now before we execute this, there's a small change in this program. The X remains the same, but we forgot to change the axis Y. So here it will be axis 3Y, and here it will be axis 4Y. Now this is gonna plot the values for the axis 3Y and axis 4Y, which we have changed just now. Now let's just press F5 and run this. And there you go. As I have given some random values, my plot is going to look something like this. You can give your own values and try, and as you can see in the legend, plot A, B, C, D respectively, and having the different marker style. Here you can see the hexagon style, the point marker, and the O marker. So that is how your plot will look like once you execute this. Now just to summarize this video, let's have a look what we have seen in this program. So first thing, we learned how to add the titles. Now title is nothing but the name given to the graph. So this place will take your title name, something like this, or maybe your plot name. So it comes under title. Then we saw how to add the labels. Now label will have 2 types. We have X label and we have the Y label in the program. Now these are names given to the X axis and Y axis. So this will be X label, and same way this will be Y label. Now you can name these anything you want. And then we saw how to add the legends. Now legend is nothing but to distinguish in case you have a graph with 2 lines, something like this. How do you distinguish which represents what? So for that you add a legend, so it makes it easy. So the legend will look something like this on the left top corner, where you have plot 1 and plot 2, and there you can say that white line represents plot 1, and let me take some other color, like red represents some other line. So that is nothing but your legend. So this is the legend attribute. Okay, then we saw 3 beautification for the graph. So we have the color, we have the marker, and then we have the line style. Now color is simple. It is given by some defined values like red or blue or green, or simply if you want some unique color, you can directly go to hexadecimal colors, something like this. Just for an example, you can add hexadecimal colors. Now marker is nothing but if you have a line something like this and you want to see exactly where the point lies, that is the marker. Now the marker has many types. You can give H for hexagon, you can give star, you can give small dot, or you can give a big O for the marker style. Okay, so that was your marker. Now let me talk about the line style. Now the line style can be of the dash type, or you can have the dotted type like this. So you just have to define line style and then define it something like this or like this.
Also, the variable definition for the plot looks something like this. So we define the variable like axis x, and inside the square bracket we give the values, then again axis y, and then we give some values. So what happens is, this is your Matplotlib window, and whatever value you give here in the axis, that directly goes to the x-axis right here and gets plotted, and whatever value you give here y, it goes to the y-axis and it gets plotted like this. And then according to the value you will have your line graph. And in case you have more than one variable, suppose you have the axis 2x and then you have the axis 2y, now what will happen is, when you plot this value, this will take another type of line. So let me represent this as the white line. It may go like this. So that is how the second value is plotted here. So that was the variable definition for the Matplotlib.
Alright, so that is all for this video now, and in the next video we will check out more plots. Feel free to use the comment section for your doubts and I will try to reply. That is it for this video now, and catch you in the next.